Welcome to Work-Oriented Neurorehabilitation, brought to you by the North American Clinical Research Consortium. The NACRC was established in 2011 to advance occupational therapy's leadership in assisting persons with neurologic disorders to be successful in competitive employment. For my colleagues at the NACRC, I welcome you to consider work-oriented neurorehab. I'm Dr. Leonard Matheson. We held our kickoff organizational meeting in 2011 at the Center for Head Injury Services in St. Louis, Missouri. At that time, occupational therapy leaders from the University of Southern California, Rancho Los Amigos National Rehabilitation Center, the University of British Columbia, the Washington University School of Medicine St. Louis Program in Occupational Therapy, and the National Military Medical Center in Bethesda, Maryland, met to share ideas and resources. Our primary organizational tool was the stage model of work-oriented neurorehabilitation that describes the process that clients progress through in returning to competitive employment. The stage model depicts occupational therapy as contributing to 7 of the 8 stages and providing leadership at stages 3 through 5. The primary focus of our work has been on facilitating the occupational therapist's interpretation of the contributions of the client's residual functional capacity in terms of competitive employability. The contributions that occupational therapists make to the client's residual functional capacity must be interpreted in terms of their potential for competitive employment. We have been working since 2011 to better bridge the gap between the client's residual functional capacity and competitive employability using the Occupational Information Network. Our primary emphasis has been on bridging this gap through calibration of occupational therapy tools and procedures in a way that allows occupational therapists and their clients to fully utilize the resources available in ONET. ONET is the United States Department of Labor's integrated system for collecting and disseminating information about the competitive labor market. The ONET content model has 6 large relational databases describing most of the jobs in the North American economies. These databases are updated several times each year. Because occupational therapy is founded on the relationship between the person's abilities and the task's demands, the worker characteristics and occupational-specific information databases are of particular interest. The worker's abilities can be cross-referenced to the task information. No other profession comes close to occupational therapy in terms of addressing the many linkages between the client's abilities and the task's demands. Some of the early work on the fit between the client's abilities and the task's demands was undertaken at the Washington University School of Medicine St. Louis Program in Occupational Therapy. The Structured Work Activity Groups project at the Rehab Institute of St. Louis Occupational Performance Center developed 3 major suites of activities that were freely disseminated online and in AOTA workshops in the early 2000s. SWAG 1, the St. Francis International Library, SWAG 2, Geppetto's Workshop, and SWAG 3, St. Francis Hospital, each contained work simulations that were safe and reliable and valid methods to bridge the gap between the occupational therapy clinic and the worksite. The SWAG activities involved clients being screened for safety at work before being supervised as they performed tasks with work performance standards that simulated competitive employment. Participation in these tasks allowed occupational therapists to involve clients several hours a week in which the client as employee would be supervised by the occupational therapist as employer. Clients participated in tasks that simulated the real world within the safe environment of the OT clinic. One of the most useful tools at the OPC was the doll chair assembly task, which was developed into a commercial product in 2011. The original DCAT involves the client in 3 work sample tests and 12 situational assessments that revolve around assembly of 3 doll chairs. Over the ensuing years, several upgrades have been developed to the original DCAT that has expanded its utility. These upgrades have resulted in what we now call DCAT 2, renamed as the Dynamic Complex Assessment Task. The first upgrade is the Employability Rating Scale. This assists the OT to guide the rehabilitation process in terms of the degree to which reasonable accommodations are going to be necessary. The 5-level rating scale guides a return-to-work process, beginning with the client at the unable level and continuing through the 3 reasonable accommodation levels: active supervision, coaching, and self-managed. These intervening levels may be necessary if the client is unable to return to work at a competitive employment level. The improvement of disabled workers' rights over the last few decades has created a huge opportunity for OTs to contribute to the return to competitive employment process. Next in the series of upgrades found in DCAT 2 is the Employment Feasibility Checklist. First developed at Rancho Los Amigos many years ago, this has been updated at the Washington University St. Louis Program in Occupational Therapy by Dr. Matt Dotson and his colleagues. The EFC guides the occupational therapist to evaluate the global employment factors involving safety, reliability, and productivity that every employer expects of every client returning to competitive employment. Identifying the feasibility areas that challenge the client is a crucial part of rehab planning. One of the most exciting upgrades in DCAT 2 involves the ONET Occupational Task Ability Profiler. This is an automated approach to ONET that integrates the DCAT evaluation process with ONET data, focusing on 9 of the most important abilities, including 6 cognitive abilities and 3 psychomotor abilities. The OTAP helps the occupational therapist to educate the client and their family, as well as the rest of the rehab team, concerning the specific return-to-work issues facing the client, the client's progress to competitive employment, and the potential need to explore alternate occupations and reasonable accommodations can be done quickly and easily with OTAP. The most recent upgrade to DCAT 2 involves integration of the 9 ONET abilities using behavior-anchored rating scales. The BAR rating process brings a specific focus on the client's shortfalls and any excess resources. As occupational therapists learn to operationally define each of these 9 constructs, they provide a powerful informational bridge between what is going on in the OT clinic and what the employer will eventually require of the client. In the next video in this series, the famous Toby case study will help to exemplify the use of these tools. Toby is the manager of a construction firm who 2 months prior to the evaluation experienced a concussive TBI. As he begins the work-oriented neurorehab process, the occupational therapist will take Toby through a situational assessment. Over the years, this case study has been used in numerous training programs to describe the benefits of the original doll chair assembly task, DCAT 1. It's important to note that the original equipment for the doll chairs is the same as the dynamic complex assessment task. All that is changed are the procedures and rating scales and the other upgrades that make the update of the original process much more valuable.
Hi, Ronald. It's Cindy, of course. It's 7:39.
So we hope you consider the DCAT 2. We're very excited about it. We believe that it's an important part of OT's future in helping people return to competitive employment. Thanks for your time and attention. Take care now.